really stuffy. And then, of course, because this is State Highway 2, oh, logging trucks, cattle trucks, what a racket. So, I think Stefan was going to join us, but he's not here yet, obviously.
Is Dale online? Is he coming?
Suzanne, do you know if Dale's
definitely meant to be joining us.
Yeah.
So we're recording this, are we? I see we're live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got about a minute to go before we start.
Cool. So just on there, I'm just looking at the committee, the invite for this meeting. I noticed, so Suzanne, are you online?
I'm here, yes.
Cool. I just noticed that Carrie McKenzie, Ewan Stitt, and Stephen Bertram are still on that invite list. Of course, those three have all left council, their respective councils.
It was set a long time ago, but the right people have got the invitation that need to be invited, so that's probably the main thing.
Yeah, except at the moment that means that who's missing off that is actually Stefan. No, he's not on that. So I'll just forward the thing to him now.
Welcome, Dale.
Afternoon, Dale.
Hi there, nice to see everybody.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm just got 2 seconds. I'm shoving you if you need to. All right, it's 1 o'clock. Welcome everyone to this meeting of the Wairarapa Library Services Joint Committee today. I'd like to welcome everybody. Steve, could I possibly impose on you to do the karakia, or somebody like to volunteer for doing the karakia?
No.
You've frozen, Steve.
Raro ke te awaraki, tēnei te hapori, awhi ai taratahi, whānau, haramai te toke, paume hui e paike.
Thank you very much. Right, we have apologies. So I think we've got a full committee here today, haven't we? So that is lovely, and so no apologies. Does anybody have a conflict of interest for today? No. Fantastic. And we've got nobody speaking, as we know, from the public forum. So we're up to item 5 on the agenda, which is confirmation of the minutes held on the 18th of August. So has everyone had a chance to read those? Would somebody like to move that these are a true and correct record? Thank you, Lee and Steve. All those in favour, please say aye or put up your hands, easiest. Cool, carried. Now, does anybody have any discussion with regard to those minutes, or does anyone want to? Steve.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Dale for his radio commentary. I thought it was a fantastic interview. So thanks, Dale.
Yes.
Yeah. second that. That's great. Thank you for speaking on behalf of all of us, Dale. That, yeah. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to raise from the minutes?
No.
No. Then we are, sorry, I'm jumping backwards and forwards here. So we have item 6, which is information reports, which is the Wairarapa Library Services Joint Committee Activity Report. Annette, do you want to speak to that?
Other than to say it's been a really busy few months, as you can see from the report. And I think we're all probably hanging out for Christmas break. We've had a lot of emphasis on online because of COVID and its lockdown. That for us probably couldn't have happened at a worse time. It was just, it really put a block into some of the momentum across the libraries. And it was also at a time where we were heavily into preparing for the migration of the LMS project. So trying to shift the operation back to being online and deal with a major project at the same time and kind of keep everybody quite cohesive was, you know, the whole team pulled together really well, I thought, for it. And the vendors that we worked with here and overseas did a great job of just moving from planning to be in the country or do things in a particular way to being able to work with our tweaked timetable and deliver stuff online, which was really slick of them, I thought, really good of them. So yeah, it's kind of that, I think.
Does anybody have any questions of Annette or any comments that they would like to make?
Only that I didn't realise libraries took dog registrations, Annie.
Yes, unfortunately, there's 2 of our sites do, our active service centres. Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
they've always, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, does that create any tension or any issues for staff having to deal with that sort of, because I mean, not every dog owner likes the fact that they have to pay for dog registration. Does that put the staff in a difficult position?
Yeah, I mean, it brings some people into libraries that possibly wouldn't come into libraries otherwise, which is okay, but they're not in there to use the library. They're in there with a single purpose. And yes, staff are pretty adept at dealing with the whole spectrum of happy customers to very unhappy or to quite egregious. So, and we've certainly noticed with COVID and all the uncertainty that's been with it that people are pretty tense as a whole and pretty kind of edgy or brittle. So I think, yes, dealing with dog registrations and other council services stuff it adds a whole different dimension to workloads for quite a lot of the team. And it's part of what we do, but it takes away from being able to do library service work.
I think on South Wairarapa's defence in that both Greytown and Featherston have been service centres for many years, and they have melded the council requirements and the library requirements very well, and might take my hats off to the staff that work there. They've been there for a long time and they understand the two. But I can also see Annette's point that they're there as librarians or library people rather than doing council work. But unfortunately, we have a dual purpose for those 2 service centres, and yeah, we just need to work with that. But if we can convince those people that come in to do the other services, pay their water rates, pay their dog registrations, whatever, to utilise the library while they're there, I think we're going to get some mileage out of that, especially if we can explain how more modern we are with the library and the wide-ranging lots of services that we can now provide under the library. Maybe we just need to have a promotion in those 2 towns to do another awareness thing. Lee.
Can you, I'm not sure, can you see everybody, Pam? You can.
Hold on, hold on. Yeah, I can see everybody.
Okay. And just to follow on with, you know, around that service that they do in Featherston and Greytown, we are seeing a significant uptake of people choosing to pay their rates as a direct debit, and like it's a massive uptake. So I think that will reduce it. And the other thing, of course, is there's been a good uptake of people paying online for dog registration. So I think, you know, I feel that those figures will slowly improve and have a higher online.
Ideally, people move to online channel. So, you know, it's like most services in the world, the channel shift in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But for the team, I suppose it's about being able to eke out time to help people get digitally literate so that they can do stuff online, because that's more the library aspect of it than taking a transaction across a desk. And you know, people come in to pay a dog reg, for example, they're in that mind, that's what they want to do. They don't want to hear about anything else. They're there to pay the dog reg. They want to make that transaction as quick and painless as possible, and not necessarily have to learn about another thing at that time or another way of doing it, because that's not kind of why they come in the door. So, but yeah, I think you're right, Lee. Over time, it's proportionally more and more people will move to an online medium because it's easier.
Yep. I just had a couple of other comments. This public awareness campaign, Libraries Make SHHH Happen, I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, that you mean shit. Is that correct?
Oh, it was a play on libraries.
Yeah.
It got big ups all over the place because it was clever. It's a play on words.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that I think where libraries are all about words and intelligent use of words, that is necessarily a good representation, but that just maybe my view. Yeah. Anyway, look, it's an operational matter, but I just sort of was a bit surprised to see that. Just going on to the website and Facebook, that looks terrific. I've had a bit of a ferret around, and I'm sure you must find it easier just having one Facebook for the whole library service. And I've literally briefly this morning popped onto the new website. Just one very minor thing, Annette. There's a typo in the first paragraph of the website. So maybe that it just says, kia ora, welcome to the library service, a shared service provide by Carterton. So just need to have a D on there. But the rest looks great, and it's user-friendly, and I think it's, you know, well done, you. Looks great.
I'll pass it on to the team.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. So I don't think I had any other, just in terms of it's interesting, the comments around no fines being paid. So do you want to just flesh out that a bit? The feedback since we've had no fines for overdue books.
As in, what comments have we had?
Yeah.
I think people are probably, in summary, I haven't gone and specifically canvassed that, but trickling up. In summary, I think it's been met with pleasant, happy, you know, it's a welcome thing. But yeah, that was probably about all I could say on that. Yeah.
There's been quite a lot of commentary in the media, not just from our region, but from across New Zealand and on the subject. So
Oh, so yes, and from that point of view, there is the Public Libraries NZ, which is public library managers around the country. There is a concerted campaign to move New Zealand to completely overdue fines free. So you will have seen something and stuff about Christchurch City Libraries discussing overdue fines free. And they cited a number of other libraries around the country. So yeah, there will be a lot of media noise, discussion about that subject for the next 12 months, probably, I'd suggest.
Good.
It all from you, Lee?
Yes, that's all from me. Thank
Lovely.
you.
Dale.
Good
you
report,
wanted-
Annette. Excellent report.
Thank you.
Dale, you wanted to say something?
I was really just closing off what I raised in the first place, I guess, around the service centres. I mean, I'd imagine librarians aren't particularly trained in conflict resolution and things like that. And I guess with, rates payments coming up in South Wairarapa, that might add another dimension to it. And I guess I was just thinking about staff being in that unenviable position of being trained to give out library services, but are also responsible for collecting on behalf of council, and just whether that posed any additional risk to your teams and how that would be managed.
Okay, so yes, I think it has at times, it presents risk. I mean, libraries deal with everybody, so they are recognised as being a stressful, reasonably highish risk place to be working. In terms of conflict resolution and management of, South Wairarapa has run a number of courses. So from what I know from our health and safety advisor, all library staff have done that course. Carterton staff have as well. So in terms of how we mitigate that, then yes, they've kind of got a grounding in how to calm situations down and also know who to pass stuff to in council. So yeah.
Stephen, would you like to add anything to that on behalf of the council?
No, nothing from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Where are we?
Annette,
Yes,
Annette, I was just curious with the new smart system being in place. I'm just wondering if you've had interest from library members to try and access collections held by other libraries out of the district. I'm just
definitely.
wondering, you've had quite a lot of interest.
Tons, yeah. We're sending reserves all around the region, and we're getting stuff in from all around the region every day. So yeah, it's kind of gone bit gangbusters. The first 3 weeks was kind of manic, and then it's settling down a little bit. We're anticipating that in the lead into Christmas, because it'll be a real get your summer reading sorted kind of moment. We're anticipating there'll be a lot of people that will be raiding the libraries and putting on reserves and getting stuff from all over the place.
So just following on from that, are you sensing that when we get through this, shouldn't say through this COVID situation, but as people start to deal with it better, do you see libraries being able to keep up with their want of accessing other editions from other areas and so forth? Do you see it growing so much that there might be a requirement for extra staff, is really where I'm coming from?
Yeah. I think COVID throws a real curveball in there, Steve. I think at the moment, one of the things that the team is doing at the moment is looking at how we provide library services irrespective of things like vaccination status, or whether or not you're isolating at home or you're able to come into a particular building. Because as you know, the Local Government Act, we need to provision library services. So we are looking at potentially having almost 3-4 models. Library service, traditional, you come into the building, you get what you want, you issue it, off you go. Digital services where you can download ebooks, you can look at databases online, you can read online. home services where it might be you're isolating with COVID, or you're looking after somebody with COVID, or you're homebound for another reason. And then how do we provision you as library services? Or something like click and collect or order and collect, where you can't come into the library, but you can order something and be able to come to a designated place to essentially self-issue it and walk away out the door, out of that place with that stuff. I am of a mind that COVID's kind of added an extra layer to that thinking, but it's probably a way that it's been a catalyst for making libraries think about service delivery. And I think that's probably the world that we're moving, the permanent world that we're moving into. In terms of what that means in terms of staff resourcing and numbers, not sure yet. What it does mean, probably in a more immediate way, is about how we arrange our daily work, because the balance of what we are doing in a library on the desk might have to shift to accommodate delivery of library services in other ways. So we're doing some pretty fleet-footed work on that at the minute. We're waiting on the government making some sort of decisions next week. And in the interim, between now and I've asked the team by the 6th of December to have a little more honed up logistics of how we could deliver services in those 4 ways. And then we'll just have to track it and get some data and monitor. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Lee, did you want to say something? You've still got your hand up. Following on from some of Lee's and Steve's questions, with the removal of the fines, have you found that you've got any books being returned that people had at home, and whether there's any very old ones that have come out that have been out for many years or anything like that? What's the response been on that side of the thing?
I can't speak at a detailed level, Pam, but I know that we've had a number of people who've suddenly found things at home that they forgot they had.
Wonderful. Wonderful, because that means it can go back into the collection and go out again to other people. That's what we want.
I think, expiring everybody's library cards was, well, we had to do it as part of the systems change. It certainly galvanised a lot of people to realise that they still had a library card and that they hadn't used it for a long time. So we got floods of people coming in to reactivate their library cards, or their library membership, actually. And so that was really good. There's a lot of people that hadn't engaged with the libraries for quite a long time who came in to reactivate that membership, but also a percentage of them who rediscovered things that they maybe hadn't dropped off a bit earlier. So.
That's good. That's all good. And it's good being engaged with them and everything. So fantastic. Lee.
Just thinking about access to a greater number of books across the region. Does that potentially have a good positive impact on our budgets, in terms of budgets for buying books? Does it potentially make it go a bit further in any way? That because now for example, this book that I ordered, excuse me, today wasn't available or showing up in any of our Wairarapa service. So would it give you greater reach, perhaps, or?
Greater reach, for sure. In terms of, yes, greater reach, and that you've suddenly got access to 500,000 items instead of 90,000. But bearing in mind that a lot of the collections, the books that we would buy here, they'd be bought in other centres as well, obviously. I think in terms, there's an agreement across SMART that all libraries stand on their own feet. So we don't you don't use another library to supplement your collection purchases. So yeah,
so it's business as usual.
It is business as usual, but with a slightly wider
reach.
to borrow from. Yeah.
Excellent.
Which might mitigate, you know, we might only buy 3 copies of a really popular title, but across Smart there might be 20 copies. So you potentially might get your hands on that a wee bit quicker. But there's a lot of finessing to do yet with those sort of things. High demand items. The whole region's having a chat about how we manage high demand items, because you don't want to buy, for argument's sake, 90 copies of the latest Lee Child book, which might go incredibly popularly for 4 or 5 sets of issues, you know, 15 weeks, and then suddenly you actually only need 1 copy per library. So a little bit, some smarts in there about how to manage that.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Pam, you're on mute.
Yeah, I just realised that. So thank you, everyone. That was really good discussion around that, and thank you for your report. And it, as always, it's full and complete, so that's great. So now we're up to item 7 on the agenda, which is the Wairarapa Library Services Policy Report. So,
excuse me, Madam Chair, could we have somebody move to receive the Joint Committee Activity Report?
oh, yes, Lee, thank you, Lee. Somebody to second that. Thank you, Dale. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Cool, carried. Thank you, Suzanne. Right. Let me just see here. Hold on. Just go to the bottom. I think first of all, we will receive the Library Service Fund donation, sponsorship and fundraising policy. I'll move that. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Lee. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carrie, thank you. Annette, would you like to talk to that for us, please?
You had asked for a policy around if people, groups donate money to the libraries. And also just thinking that through as well, if the libraries want to do fundraising or sponsorship, sort of may as well put the whole lot together. So this policy is deliberately kind of short and brief to try and cover off those 3 aspects. We don't get very many donations to the libraries. In the 15 months I've been here, we've had 1 donation of a small amount of money specifically to Carterton Library to purchase picture books as a way of honouring a deceased infant. And they specifically wanted picture books about child and father. So in terms of fundraising for the libraries, we don't actively fundraise at this stage, and we're not growing out grant seeking at this stage. But I mean, in some ways, the policy at least tries to cover those off. Yeah,
that's really good. Does anybody have any questions or comments? No. I have one. Just a couple of small amendments to it, if you wouldn't mind, Annette, we can have a discussion around that. Under item 7, which is the fundraising and grants applications, it says on the second line of the body being applied to and in line, and I think we need to add with South Wairarapa and Carterton District Council requirements.
sorry, Pam. So you're talking about the first paragraph, applications for financial grants? Is that the one?
Go to the second line of that.
So all applications must clearly state. Is that the line you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about it starts, businesses are to be made in accordance with the criteria of the body being applied to and in line with South Wairarapa District Council and Carterton District Council.
Oh, okay, right. So you just want the word with added in. Okay.
Yeah, just add the word with in there. And then under item 9, which is just the heading fundraising, in the 5th paragraph now down, and we've got all fundraising events are to be organised in accordance with the requirements of the Gaming and Lotteries Act 1977 and / or any subsequent related legislation. And then I've said, whoops, hold on, there's a thing to tell me what it all says. And must have the approval of the Wairarapa Library Service Manager,
Okay.
just so the team can't go off and do it without your approval.
Good point. Don't want them doing that.
Well, no, I think you want to have your head over that one.
Unless they're successful.
That's
Sorry.
right. In which case, I'm taking all the credit. Oh, hang on. That would be the role of councillors. I have to manage upwards, don't I? Okay, I'll make those tweaks.
Fantastic. Cool. Anybody else got anything? Okay, right. Let me just get those other I've lost that page. Just 2 seconds. This computer is not ideal. Okay, so we need to note that the process and procedures of the Wairarapa Library Service will be updated to reflect the policy and adopts the proposed funds, donations, sponsorship and fundraising policy. Could I have someone move those items 2 and 3 for recommendations, please? Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Lee, for seconding it. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Great. Thank you. Carried. I think that is all our very brief agenda for today. So that is really lovely. Thank you all for being here today. Steve, do we say a karakia at the end? I think we do. But just before we, I know we don't. It's good. I'd just like to wish everyone a lovely Christmas because we won't have a meeting in December. It seems a tad early, but I'm sure we'll all be in touch before Christmas. But yeah, just have a lovely time with family and friends and a safe time if you're traveling on our roads. So thank you.